Side Squares is on the system here. This was about the startup of new dancer sessions in West Kelowna, and it was on television. So let me see. I thought I'd like to show you the online internet service first here. I think it's going to work okay. Have you come up? Oh, wonderful. Okay. Sorry, everybody. All this clicking to bring, bring things up here. Okay. So in this case, it was a release submitted in September of 2013. The focus here was Central Okanagan Valley. So this is an example of one of many online news and information services that are only on the internet. They work solely on the internet. Many people now are going to sites like Kelowna now here for their news, because they actually have news reporters and camera people who go out and get stories, take photos. So I'll see, is it going to scroll? Yeah, it's going to scroll. So they largely reproduce the release as it was submitted to them, which again is great because it's our perspective, not from their viewpoint. See, the opening line there is trying to say that people are sedentary and they need to get up and discover our dance forms. And I guess the obvious reason or motivation here was promotion of Square and Round Dance Awareness Week back in that year. It says here 2 Central Okanagan Square and Round Dance clubs and 1 for youth welcomed it. It quotes the proclamation from the British Columbia government, a nice little bit there. It already gets into photographs that were submitted to them. Our caller there was, at the time, was Dustin McGifford. That's him in the back in the orange. We get a little advertising. I got myself in there doing a quote. Today's style of square dancing is a great experience, and as the proclamation identifies, it's rather holistic by its many benefits. A little bit more about me and my wife, Rosalyn. There's a woman that was having a wonderful time on the dance floor that new dancer night. There's Dustin again, 22 years old at the time. And this was nice. Submitted to them was a video sequence, and they posted it. I didn't ask them to specifically, but I gave them the material just in case. I don't know that it's going to play within here. I can give it a try. It might skip on us here. I'm not sure I've got sound up anyway. Well, okay. Sorry, folks. I'm going to stop the share just to make sure that the sound was turned on. Okay, here we go again. No, it was not turned on. Let's see if we can play some of this. I think it's maybe a little long to go right through.
It's Monday, September the 9th, 2013. Looking out across the lake from West Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada. Not a creature was stirring, not even a, oops, that was from A Night Before Christmas, sorry. Anyway, listen. No, not of the crickets. There's something coming from the core of West Bank. What was that? Sounds like a lot of people having loads of fun. I think we're gonna go and investigate.
All right, so boys, all the boys take a look to the.
Yeah, folks, it is about 11 minutes. That'll give you an idea, though, how on a news and information online website, all this stuff can be packed in: photos, text, videos. Let me see here. Was there anything left? Oh, I'll just pop back to this to show you a photo at the very end here. Share screen. There they are. The photos was the group that particular night posing with. That's the proclamation. It's not showing too well on my screen, but that's the provincial proclamation from third week of September that particular year. And that's the pull-up promotional banner in the back that all BC member associations were given a few years back. I think ours is in the Okanagan is currently with the Vernon Club. Okay, I think because of the freeze up issue, I maybe should avoid the television one. But just briefly, as a result of a press release going to Global Okanagan Television back in 2016, well, it was Global Okanagan then. They sent a camera person from the TV news department, and they videotaped Dustin, the young fellow, teaching a floor of newcomers. It was specifically mentioned by Dustin that it was the West Coast Square Dance program. He gave it praise for being a simpler, easier to teach program. They interviewed people, and it was just wonderful to get for free. We didn't pay a penny for it. All we did was issue a press release about this opening night of dancing, and they sent a camera person. You never know when it's a slow day or slow night, so you can take advantage of that. I just wanted to move to some of the other non-video stuff. Okay, let's see if this one, I'll just get it set up, everybody. We in the Okanagan have the Okanagan Square and Round Dance Association. Mind you, it's quite in limbo at the moment, but we do a spring fling square dance weekend every year, have for many, many years. Let me see if I can bring that up. There we go. Here again, this was the Vernon Morning Star newspaper as a result of a release sent by email to them about the event. I think, to tell you the truth, folks, I think in this case, they weren't able to send anybody. And realizing that, I had my camera with me. I took shots and wrote a release about the event. It's funny, I can't think of everything, it seems, but this is worth mentioning that if you have doubts or an event comes and goes and nobody came from the media, be it especially television or newspaper, you can take photos, write a summary release about what took place, and submit it. And guess what? The Vernon Morning Star not only published it in print, but here it is on their web page as well. So that's actually, oh, I can try it. Let me see here. They were sent several photos, and I think it's going to play for us. They put the photos together. Oh, darn. We have to get an ad. I hope you're going to buy that, everybody. They put these photos together. I sent them. They put them together in a montage that lasts about 30 seconds. So it's almost like a TV report on the spring fling of that particular month and year. Yeah. Just a few shots left. There's some really nice shots. So again, everybody, that was free. It reflected, oh, we're promoting the festival there, Jean.
I saw that. Brian, I just want to,
Yes.
Can you possibly send links to these videos to, I don't know, to me or to anybody that wants them? Or put the links in the chat, because I don't know about anybody else, but I'd like to look at them further. I would also like all those pictures that you took.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Sorry, that's my advertising.
Well, just quickly, I do find it a frustrating thing about Zoom. I wish there was a auxiliary format that would let stuff like that be posted. What do you say? I just invite everybody to let me know of your interest at my email, and I'll probably send you all of this information, but in particular the links. So I'm Brian, Brian, at SquareDance, all one word, Brian at squaredance.bc.ca. Brian at squaredance.bc.ca. While I've got this Vernon Morningstar article up, folks, on their own accord, the newspaper editor was aware that they'd done something with the Star Country Club, having dancing for seniors. I won't click on this, but you'll notice in blue there, they've put in a link to another story that their paper had on a different occasion. You just can't beat this. It's just all for free, and they're helping us promote. There's that video sequence. Have we got quotes in here? Yep, there's me talking again. Our Valley Dance community is gearing up to hold an event in July that will be substantially larger than our Spring Fling Dance, said Brian Elmer of West Kelowna. Again, localizing it so that the Vernon paper can identify local people in the region. There's another link. Square dancing can be fun for all ages. I won't click on it, but it takes you to yet another related story. The paper did this. I didn't do that. So there's your kind of your boilerplate stuff. In this case, at the bottom, questions. I tried to push the festival at the time. Okay. Wendy Kruger. We don't have Wendy on the system right now, do we? No. Wendy's a caller, cure teacher. I started a club called the Valley Promenaders in Aldergrove. That's kind of wedged between Langley and Abbotsford, if I've got it right. Unfortunately, she tried to start them up in about February of 2020, just as the pandemic hit. So, no, it was 2020. Yeah. By the way, Wendy's also our very valued secretary for the Federation. So I worked with Wendy. I sent a release to area media, not just newspaper. Remember all these other opportunities, radio. Some of the radio shows have talk shows where they're looking for stuff. And I think our post-pandemic lessons would be a great topic. It was picked up. It was reproduced in the Aldergrove Star newspaper. And as I said to you, these papers generally have online versions. So I fetched it. I found it here. It appeared in their entertainment section. I'll just give me a moment. It's loading in. That's a lot better than video anyway. Okay. Try to get it to share. There we go. I think we've got it. It was promotion of the Valley Promenaders, brand new square and round dance club in Aldergrove that unfortunately was hit with the pandemic shortly after. The newspaper's called the Aldergrove Star. That's a photo I submitted because I was trying to promote a new club without much. You've got nothing to show about that club. I grabbed a shot from Festival 2019, and they thought that was pretty good, and they put it in. The arrow here indicates there must be some other images. I'm going to click on it and see if by some miracle is it going to play? No, it's not going to play. Oops. I'm asking for trouble here, Gene, trying to get these images to activate for me. I'm going to dump out of that, everybody, if I can get the computer to respond.
Like I said,
No,
Brian,
I don't want
if we send the links to anybody who's interested, because I know that the videos are really glitchy.
Yeah, actually, I just got a peek there. The link was to the 10-minute Dancing Keeps You Young feature that we, the Federation, have posted at dancingkeepsyouyoung.ca. So here's the text, and I think again, it was largely word for word with what, where did it go?
Hey, right, that young lady right in the middle of the front with the gold skirt is my granddaughter.
Oh, is
From
that
Williams
right?
Lake, as a matter of fact.
I thought maybe you'd want an ad by Adobe Creative Cloud, but anyway,
Yeah.
I'll get back to it. Okay, please give me this. Boy, that's a lot. Lines. A new Square Dance Club offers free lessons in February. Wendy planned to open it this way. It identifies, again, localizes. This was the Aldergrove Star paper, but look how it localizes. Valley promenaders serve Abbotsford, Aldergrove, and Langley. So that'll catch the eye of anybody that lives in those communities. So it talks about a new club being formed, who they serve, when they meet, introductory period. There's a quote from Wendy. She says the activity is friendship set to music. Did you notice there it said, oh, my system's so darn slow. It said where Wendy lives. Again, you're localizing it for the introductory period. That's an ad in there, but it says call her teacher Wendy Kruger of Abbotsford. So there's another tag for to localize the story. Then Wendy went on to say, now it could have been worded, Kruger continued, you meet so many nice people of the kind you want to invite to your home or to church or to watch a movie together. She talks about the afternoon sessions, and she pushes that it can be an activity for homeschooled children because it takes place in the daytime. Homeschoolers can come in the daytime to that group. Says no pre-registration, no fancy footwork, a few words about how easy it is to learn to square dance. Um, Today's style of square dancing differs greatly from the traditional form. That's a little bit of a attack on the image issues that we entertained in a recent Zoom session. Oh yeah, it says stereotypical image of the barn dance is now replaced by the reality of smiling dancers having fun in modern facilities. More from Wendy. And then a plug for the non-existent Festival 2020. But at the time, it might have taken place, the national in Surrey. And there's the for more information line, Wendy's email, and where to call. And look what they threw in. It wasn't me. The newspaper knew that there had been some bobcat square dancing. And we're not talking the animal, we're talking the earth movers at Abbotsford's Pacific Ag Show. So they put that in as a related. I'm sure it's quite entertaining, but I won't bother clicking on it. Just wondering, everybody, just wanted to give you an idea. I think we're getting the idea. Well, I might as well, if you don't mind, I've got one more here I'm going to throw up. Because we try in the Okanagan Valley, in fact, we have two clog dance clubs. We try to promote what they're doing. And in December of 2016, a release was sent out in the Vernon area because our Got to Be Cloggin Club opened a branch up in Vernon. Oh dear, is it info? I'm sorry, folks, I got to type it quickly here. Let's see if she'll go to it for me. Yeah, it was called Rhythmic Tapping is Soon to Echo in Vernon. I'll just punch it up in a sec here, everybody. I gave myself the wrong link, so I'm embarrassed about that. Okay, there it is. So infonews.ca. It's not a TV station, not a radio station, not a print publication. It's an online news and information service. And this would be their Vernon page. So there we go. The release as submitted to them. Rhythmic tapping soon to echo in Vernon. Now, sometimes when you submit a release, if you have a byline, by meaning who it was written by, they will reproduce that. In this case, they just have under that title contributed and then / Okanagan Square and Round Dance Association. I've actually seen those, some editors put their name in there, even though the release is largely what was sent to them. But I guess if they change a word, then they've edited it so they can put their name in. So a shot of the Got to Be Clog and some of their members there. And this is a proper press release telling about the coming of clog dancing to the Helena Center in Vernon. It even talks a bit about, when we talked about the content in the paragraphs, the meat, it says there was a time when wooden shoes were used for clogging, but today's style uses double stainless steel taps. That's important because that beats down the image of what the heck is clogging. You talking about those big wooden shoes? No. Talks about the introductory session. Oh my goodness, this is great. You'd think it came from a very verbose person. Okay, talks about it being a North American folk dance. I guess that's the other thing, everybody. When you give the media more, maybe you give some supplementary information on their internet page, they'll sometimes use that. So then at the bottom there, contact Linda, and rather than post or email on the article, you have to click on it down here to reveal her email. And then the Okanagan Square and Round Dance Association gets a final plug that the event's presented by them and that clogging clubs hold memberships. Sometimes you'll notice here there's a comment section. Sometimes the community, the readers will comment. In this case, we didn't get any comments. Sorry about that. Okay. I have got, and I can give you folks, well, you can do a Google search yourself, but if you do a Google search for writing press releases, a lot of material comes up. You might even find some of what I referenced for this today. Just wondering what else is really important here. Yeah, I think we're coming to the end of what I've got to everybody. So can we open it up? Jane, I've got 8:01. Sorry it took that long, but at least we covered a lot there.
Okay, like I said, if anybody wants the links to that information, if I guess if they email you, then they can get the links. Okay. Other than that, and open up any comments, questions, suggestions.
Jean, you said you didn't start recording at the beginning.
No, I didn't. I apologize.
So are we going to be able to see the first couple of slides that Brian put on, the press release and the list of what they were?
Yeah, if Brian sends them to me, I can put them at the beginning of the video that is currently recording. I apologize for that. I just said I had turned it off. When I'm sitting here by myself, I usually turn it off, but I forgot to turn it back on. It was one of those days. Actually, I think it's been one of those weeks.
I'll tell you, everybody, if I email the so to speak, script with all those links, the photos could be attached, or not, I'm sorry, the graphics, the slides, as you call them, Diane. Yeah. Lyle and Dan, I see you asked how you contact people to send their release to. Um, it does take some thinking. I mean, what newspapers come to your doorstep? See if either look in them and see on the editorial page uh, where they suggest you can send information, send releases. Otherwise, go on they'll all have websites. Um, I admit I do a fair bit of research to learn what is in a region. Sometimes I just bounce around on the internet. You might key in radio in Surrey. I think you have a dedicated radio station, do you not, in Surrey? I'm pretty sure you do. I, um, you got loads of radio stations in the lower mainland, but
The only one I know of in Surrey is Red FM, which is the East Indian one.
oh, no, it wasn't that one. I'm sorry, I came across one when I was working with Wendy to promote her startup. Um, um, and then the broader media, your CBC, British Columbia, your Global BC, that for just your club, that's too broad. They might take interest if you can give them a good angle. I was going to say, even the media outlets have regionalized broadcasts, and a good example is CBC. CBC at times during their radio broadcast day do a full province signal, but then we have CBC Southern Interior cuts in and comes on the airwaves for a portion of the day. And I think there's a morning show originating out of Kelowna. I think it reaches over to you, Sandy, in Kamloops, CBC Southern Interior. So, I'm thinking there are opportunities if we were going to do something about post-pandemic lessons. We could go to CBC Southern Interior in downtown Kelowna or email them a release. But in the release, this is what I was talking about, tailoring your release to the target. You could say, and we got a club in Kamloops, one in Vernon, one in Kelowna, and we got 2 clogging clubs. So the CBC announcer would have a lot of stuff to consider, possible people to interview. Whereas, you're Surrey, are you not, Lyle? You said you're Surrey, so
Yeah.
you've
We've
got
done-
the Surrey. Is
we've
it Surrey
done-
News Leader?
The Surrey Leader is there for news, but we've done, actually, the promotion committee has done several things with Global. And we've had some very good things come out of it, but I don't know whether we got people to come dancing or not. But we've done the morning show with Global, dancing there with Brent. We've done, was it a lunchtime? It was actually the weather section of the lunchtime where we had the weather reporter. She actually, we got her in a square and she actually did some square dancing in the square. But those are a while ago, so nothing lately, of course.
JR.
And we're
What
trying
was
to get hold of Jay. I'd like to get hold of JR, but I haven't been able to get a response from him.
The new,
Yeah. What was the focus in terms of the dance offering? Were you directing TV viewers to your Surrey club, or was it a more of a global appeal? Like, look, this is square dancing in British Columbia. Was that
Yeah,
the approach?
it was more the promotion committee with the Fraser Valley, and it was more global, more not necessarily directed at a club. It was, we're square dancing, it's here, it's still alive. We have a great time, that kind of stuff.
contact this number
Yeah.
if you'd like it.
We had some of the Westburn Wrangler kids there as well, and they were all dancing, having a good time.
Excellent. I still don't know that I've answered your question all that well, but I fumble a lot trying to find a target media. I also ask around, ask club members, maybe they have a regular radio program they listen to or something online. Yeah, it takes a bit of a think tank to come up with the media outlets that you want to direct your releases to. Have I missed any other? I appreciate that about contacting, identifying your media contacts. Sandy, I was wondering if they'd like to hear what we did in the last few days. Sandy's trying to expand the reach on social media, and I worked with her on Twitter. And this is worth bringing up, everybody, because again, if you get some great press release, maybe it comes out in, I'm trying to think, your Kamloops newspaper. I have it on
Kamloops this week.
this Kamloops this week. So a great article comes out, Sandy, as for instance, in Kamloops this week. Photos of you and Merv, the dancers, a great story about post-pandemic lessons. You for sure that will be on their web page. You can go look at their web page, grab that story, and repost it on your Twitter or on your Facebook or put it on your club website for that matter. But I was thinking Twitter in particular. So I worked with Sandy on targeting on Twitter. And when we talk social media, I mentioned hashtags. People will go to like hashtag Kamloops on Twitter and use it for the information of the day. They key that in, they search for any information that's got hashtag Kamloops, and it's kind of like their newspaper. So that's how you can reach out and target. But I'm losing the gist of my point here. Also, remember, Sandy, we were talking, or at least via email, so that when people are interested by what they've seen on Twitter, they can direct message you on Twitter. So both Sandy and I set up our direct message receipt capabilities. And it only makes sense if you've interested somebody, don't leave them out in the wilderness. You can put a phone number in your tweet. You can put an email. Sometimes that's a bit dangerous with scammers picking it up. But there is a DM or direct message option where they can, if they follow your page, they can message you and say, well, exactly what hall at what time can kids come? What's the general age group? All of that type of thing. Anyway, was anything else, Sandy, that we went over that crossed your mind? You've done releases. I know you've done releases.
I used to. They're all posted on my our webpage. Thanks to Jean, she's put them in there.
Oh, links are they, or are they reproductions?
What are they, Jean? Are you listening? You could just go into our website and it says articles on part of that website. Because I used to write them all the time, but I'm old now. I don't have the energy. And it's hard. We've got 3 parts to our club, and we have to try and run them ourselves. Just too much.
Yeah.
We like to have another caller to help out Merv. We are hoping for Gloria, but remains to be seen.
You had a woman, a new dancer from, was it Ashcroft?
Yes, that's Gloria Mertens.
Okay.
She's very good.
How did I get to see a lovely article about that?
She did that for us.
Was it in the Ashcroft paper?
I think so, and also in Kamloops.
Yes.
But we put she had our picture in the Ashcroft paper, and then when we put it in the Kamloops paper, we put their picture in there because I thought it should be about them because it was about them.
Oh yeah, I'm so glad you've touched on that. You've made me think of something else important. I particularly noticed it, well, I was going to say at the time of Festival 2019 in Salmon Arm, but newspapers are owned by conglomerates generally, and one of the biggest of them is Black Press. And they're sneaky. The Salmon Arm, what is it? Salmon Arm Observer up there, I think. They they will publish something, and then other newspapers in the black press system will look over what they have and reprint it, although they might be in another city 100 miles away. So suddenly articles that you've submitted will start appearing in other papers way to heck and gone. Uh, um, and that's good in the sense that the word gets out, even gets spread even more. Um, Also, I was wondering, Mary Ann up in Williams Lake there, I just can't speak highly enough of what you've done with the Williams Lake Tribune and getting the reporter. Was it a reporter or an editor to come out to your dances?
It was the community editor, but sadly, she's moved to Kelowna.
Oh, what's your name?
So I have to build new relationships, which I haven't been able to do yet. But
Yeah, but that's the ultimate. And I think Marianne feels it's because being in a smaller community, you can develop a relationship like that. I was going to say another thing. Oh, there was so much in putting this together. Um, News releases come into a media outlet by the hundreds. And one thing that was mentioned in some of my research was some of the big corporations, for whatever reason, will issue their releases on the hour. And the problem with that is suddenly 100 corporations releases arrive in the computer of the editor and they're swamped. So the point was, I don't know if this holds a lot of water, but the point was send your release out in a little more odd times, maybe at 12 minutes after the hour or something like that. The other thing was because releases generally now are sent out by email and they're so numerous, you might want to get a leg up by doing something different. And that could be dropping off a print copy of your release, the old style, a piece of paper. And it just is a little bit different, if you can believe that. And that will put it in front of them and make your cause and your release more noticeable. You're making me think of something I've got to tell you. Even as a kid, I was interested in high school in helping to promote our big musicals that we had. And we wanted the radio stations in Vancouver to mention that people could buy tickets to our musicals. We did South Pacific, for instance, stuff like that. So there I was, of course, on the promotion committee. I remember going with some fellow students. We'd prepared community calendar announcements on paper, rolled them up and stuffed them into pineapples because after all, the musical was South Pacific. So we on the bus took a box of pineapples to downtown Vancouver, went into the reception desk at each radio station and gave them a pineapple with our community calendar announcement about our, I never forgotten that. And we got press on it. I remember one of the announcers for CKWX, I think they're all news now. At the time they were music, but he mentioned us on the air and we got something out of it. Anyway, so if you got some pineapples hanging around and your dance is going to be Hawaiian themed, then there's an idea for you.
Brian, could you explain how to attach photos to a press release? Because in the Tribune wanted very high resolution photos. And of course that makes for a very large email if you're sending it to them. And if you have a large number of photos that you want them to be able to choose from, how would you suggest doing that?
I haven't zeroed in, Marianne, exactly on what kind of file size relates to picture quality. I think they say 300 pixels is their minimum for reproduction in print. none of this is a problem, right, for online. You can send something in very low resolution for online.
Yeah,
Um,
online only needs to be 72.
Is that a standard?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
because that's, but when you send a large attachment, you can use Dropbox.
Yeah.
Okay, Dropbox, your attachment goes into the Dropbox and a link goes in your email for them to pick up the video from there or the image from there. So you would put maybe a thumbnail in your email with a link to the full picture.
Yeah, I appreciate that. The other thing I usually do,
I'll
Marianne,
explain
is
it later.
I drop the picture quality a little, it might be a 2 megabyte file size, drop it down to 1 or maybe 800,000. I think that would be right, 800K. And
Mhm.
that seems to be okay with them.
Sandy?
Brian?
Yeah.
When I was sending in my releases to them, one thing about dropping it off, you can't send pictures. So I always sent emails and I just sent them by attachments, and my camera was pretty good quality, but I sent them a lot smaller, but because the pixels were still there, they were fine.
Okay.
And I used to send quite a few for them to choose from.
Yeah.
What I
I
ended
think,
up doing was creating a PDF, and I just dragged the photos all onto one page. And then I said, if you want to pick any of them, just tell me which one you want and I'll send you the high resolution copy
Oh,
then.
okay.
That was all I could think of to do.
I'd like to know what they mean, what their standard is for high resolution, because I think sometimes we think it's like monster size files. I don't think so.
They do go by pixels, not necessarily
Yeah.
size.
Usually 200 is acceptable for most print pictures.
Of course, it depends how big they reproduce it in. As they make it larger, it's going to look grainier. Well, that's good to know. As I say, Marianne, I've been doing like 600, 800, so I'm well within what Jean's suggesting.
Well, when I first started working with that editor, she wanted, I think it was something like one megabyte,
Megabyte. Yeah.
size picture. And so if you're sending them 10 or so pictures to choose from, that makes for a pretty big email,
They
I
should be
think,
able to take 10 at least. At
yeah,
least.
I think Gmail is limited to 25 megabytes in attachment, so that's not bad. What is your email system, Marianne, and for William, for your area?
Tell us.
You're on TELUS, yeah.
Yeah, and tell us too.
I'm sure they have an upper limit for how much you can attach to a given email. I've actually sent out multiple emails to get all the pictures through. That's
It
another.
wasn't so much tell us I was worried about. It was if I send too many, it's too slow to load and the editor gets frustrated and doesn't want to wait for them all to load,
Maybe you could send them a free coupon to Tim Hortons so we can. Yeah, no, I appreciate what you say, because time is money for them. They don't want to piddle around, so but they need that local content, and we've got it. So that's the important thing. Anybody else think of something here?
I was just wondering if Sandy, the caller you're talking about, her last name is Mertens?
Yes, Gloria and Al Mertens. Do you know them?
Yeah, we're good friends with Al.
Are you?
I used to work with him.
Mertens.
Yeah, yeah.
Great couple. Yes,
Before
she did very well. She was calling Plus
Oh.
and Mainstream, and she was helping us teach new dancers.
Oh, good.
So
Excellent.
just keep in touch with them and keep encouraging them.
Yeah, okay.
Her parents aren't very well, so she's been kind of isolating.
Oh, yeah, yeah. With everything that's been going on, and you don't talk to everybody all the time, and the families and that. Yeah, we just had a relative pass away, so yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I was going to ask Linda Bialik in Kelowna there. Linda's a longtime member of the West Side Squares. Um, Anything come to the fore of what I've had to present? We've been lucky in the Central Okanagan. We've had a lot of press over the years. Any thoughts?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
But I'm enjoying this immensely, Brian. So
Oh, great. Yeah. Thank you. By the way, everybody, Jean's calling for West Side Square. At least she was before the pandemic. I know she's still interested. And unfortunately, we lost our queuer, Regina Anderson, passed away on us. So we've got a little bit of regrouping to do with the West Side Squares of the Central Okanagan. And we've lost, of course, with Regine passing, Penticton no longer has the R&R Rounders Round Dance Club, because that was anchored by her, and the Penticton Squares Club closed its doors. So hard to believe for a city that once was called the square dance capital of Canada, but that came largely from the years of the Jamboree. Yeah. What are we resolving here? That I'm going to hear from you folks by email if you want any of these links.
I
And
think you sent that to me. You sent that to me, I think, Brian, didn't you?
I haven't sent you this presentation.
I got an
of
email with a
tonight.
bunch of links in it. I read it very carefully. It was a lot of what we saw tonight.
I did send a promotional piece that had at least 2 links to that TV story, that was a wonderful TV story that was done about Dustin McGifford calling for new dancers.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, this would be that plus more, plus some of what I've shown you tonight. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I've got much else, everybody, but thank you for your contribution here. Gee, I just wish there was more interest in this. As far as I'm concerned, I still am happy to help any of the clubs in the province or associations with developing their releases. And I was going to say I did one for Nanaimo just at the end of 2019. Traveling Squares was the club name, and it was about to go out, and then the executive decided that after their first free night, they didn't have enough dancers, so they shut it all down. So there's a Nanaimo release. I can rework everybody if you want to tailor it to your local area.
You
Yeah,
could do that.
yeah,
Brian, what
yeah.
if, I have been working up on the SquareUp BC page, as you know. What if we were to make press releases available that could be edited for local clubs to use?
Yeah, I've heard the suggestion many a time, and I think certainly we could do something. But as I've said in this presentation, there's so much targeted content. The opening line being specific to what your group is doing, it would have to be awfully generic.
Well, for those of us who are not familiar with writing press releases, if nothing else, it'll give us a place to start.
Yeah.
And, if you can if there's something that, shows us that, okay, you take the basic one, you fill it out with your local information, and then you send it to Brian to proofread.
Oh, there we go.
good idea.
That sounds easier. Yeah.
I'm learning to delegate, right? Somebody says I need to learn to delegate more. So there you go, Brian.
Well, do any of you that were with us in these Zoom sessions for the Mike Hogan presentation, do you remember Mike specifically mentioned press releases as a promotional tool that he endorsed? I don't know that he went on very long about it, but I guess why I say this is it's a powerful tool if what you put in it. Remember now, Mike said you got to meet the needs and wants of your potential new dancers. So if the release doesn't really meet their needs and wants, then you've kind of wasted your time. But look at how powerful it can be. It's just amazing when it's picked up by especially the larger media outlets. Gee, and I really think, am I crazy? I don't think so. I really think we've got something absolutely precious in the form of a social recreation to offer socially starved folk coming out of the pandemic. And as I also was saying, I think we're maybe underestimating the degree of interest people will have in being together, touching, looking in each other's faces. And I'm sure there'll be big competition from the bowling alleys, the pickleball courts, all of that, but nothing quite like what we've got to offer is how I see it.
Pickleball is playing now.
Yeah,
They are playing it now.
yeah. Oh, I quite expect
Outside.
that's all about social distancing, right?
Yeah, but it's
So-
outside.
I'm talking about where you go right and left grand around the
A lot of
square.
people are worried that because we have been told not to touch for so long,
Yeah.
they're going to say, well, square dancing is the last thing we want to do.
Well, you might remember again, going back to Mike Hogan, the Nebraska caller that talked to us, he was suggesting a 3-month hiatus between when we get the green light for the end of the pandemic and when we can promote square dancing. I'm worried because that's a heck of a 3 months. We could lose people, and I don't know.
Okay, it's 8:30.
Mhm.
And I think, again, we're going to start talking in circles if we keep going on the discussion. So I still think that we need to have some sample letters for a start, for people to start with. And I will put those on the webpage. And like I said, you can send them to Ryan to proofread.
Yeah, sure. 25 cents each.
Oh, you underestimate yourself. You undervalue yourself, I think the word is.